¿Qué onda? Thanks for watching Doing Life with Jenny. If you're new here, in June of 2023, I moved from St. Louis in the US to Mexico to the state of Hidalgo. Today we are talking about home maintenance, specifically things that have to do with water. I feel like I've already said the following before, but just in case I haven't or in case you missed it, here's how the water system works here in Mexico. In my 20 years of visiting Mexico and now a year and a half living here, I have never heard of a situation where your house gets water directly from the city's source. Not that it doesn't exist, I've just never seen it. What will most likely be the case is that the city's water source runs through your street, and then one of two things will happen. One, you might have a cistern. A cistern might be a plastic tank, or it might be made of cement outside underground, where the water will enter into there. And then from the cistern, there will be a water pump that sends the water up to your tinaco, or your private water tank. So in my case, I have a cistern. So the water is almost always on in the street. And as I use the water from the cistern and the water level declines, there's like a fishing bobber inside. That's how I think of it, that signals to let the water in from the street. And once the bobber comes up to being full, then it stops the water from coming in. If you don't have a cistern, then the water will go from the street to your tank. It might be because you get the garden hose and go on the roof and fill it that way. I have seen that. I do have a faucet outside for a garden hose. That water does come directly from the street. There have been a couple of times where the water to the street has been turned off so my garden hose wouldn't work. And in many places in Mexico, there might not be any water running through your street because Mexico is known for its water shortages. Luckily, my not just town, but my neighborhood in the town has a well. So we haven't experienced any water shortages here. But I am still very mindful of my water usage because I know there are plenty of places that go without. Which, if I remember at the end, I'll tell you how I conserve water here. Okay, the other thing you need to know about the water system here in Mexico is that you kind of have 2 or 3 options for a hot water heater. One is solar, which is what I have, so I'll come back to that in a minute. 2 is the one that's most common in the States, which is like your gas hot water heater. However, in the States, you leave that thing on all day, every day. In Mexico, you tend to turn it on like 10 or 15 minutes before you shower, give the water a chance to heat up, and then after showering, you turn it off. Or third, there's like, how can you call it? Or third, I cannot think of the name of it, but basically it's like an electric hot water heater and it heats it up like on demand right as you're showering. Those aren't super common, but you will run into them. But anyway, with the solar hot water heater, which I have, it does a very good job heating up the water on a sunny day. Like scalding hot water. If it is cloudy for more than like 2 or 3 days in a row, you can tell a difference. The water will be like a little bit warm or like almost warm, like room temperature but not cold, depending on if you just sent water up to your water tank and has it had a chance to be exposed on a sunny day versus a cloudy day. But I have been very pleased with the solar hot water heater. So the solar hot water heater comes in different sizes. It's how many tubes it has. If you have only 2 to 3 people at your house, you just need 10 tubes. If there are 4 people in your house, you'll need about 12 tubes. If you have 6 people in your house, you'll need 18 tubes. Okay, and I think the last thing I need to tell you before we get into maintenance is that, at least in these parts of Mexico, the water is very hard. Like after a few months, your shower head or your faucets will probably be clogged and you need to open them up and clean them out. So of course, that gets into your water tank and that gets into your water heater. Now, I cannot speak for maintenance on a gas hot water heater or the electric one. I will just be talking about the solar one. So let's start with the solar hot water heater. It will get clogged with they call it sarro, which is like the buildup from all of the minerals in the water. And you do need to have someone come out about every 6 months to give it maintenance. They'll clean it up for you, make sure the seals are still in good shape, and they charged me 500 pesos or 25 US dollars, and mine has 10 tubes. With the cistern, you also need to have them come clean that about every 6 months to a year. Just because, if water is sitting there, it gets moldy along the walls and whatnot. My my cistern is 10,000 liters and it costs 950 pesos for them to clean it, which is about 46, 47 US dollars. You need to clean your water tank about every 6 months, and it also has a filter with it. That was 350 pesos. And my tank is 1,100 liters, so it's about 16 or 17 US dollars. For all three of those, the cistern, tank, and the water heater, it depends on the size of it, how much they're going to charge you. So check out this picture of all of the sorrow or buildup that they cleaned out of my water tank. And this is just part of it, okay? I don't know how many buckets of this they lugged away. And also, I went way over 6 months because I was told a year. And then also, my cistern and my tank were already installed way before I started living here. So yeah. And in case you missed my YouTube short about this, if you don't use enough hot water and you have a solar water heater, I don't think this applies to the gas one, but I'm not positive. You'll just see a tube and it spews out water to relieve the pressure. So be careful if you're walking by houses and you see water spewing, that is scalding hot water. Do not touch it. Yeah, so in summary, the water here is so, so, so hard. Like my skin and my hair have been terrible. Especially my skin. My hairstylist has helped me with my hair. Basically, if you want to know, rinse it with cold water. That has helped a lot. He also showed me this like cream. It's not a leave-in conditioner because you rinse it out. But you leave it set in your hair for like 30 minutes about twice a week, and that has helped tremendously as well. So I remembered. So since water is so scarce here are a few things I do to help conserve water. One thing is something I did in the States too, but when I brush my teeth, I just get my toothbrush wet a little bit and I turn the water off. It's not like pouring water the whole time I'm brushing. That is a pet peeve of mine. Two, whenever I'm doing the dishes, I'm very mindful of turning off the faucet when I'm putting one dish off to the side because it's rinsed off and grabbing the next one that I want to rinse off. In the States, I would have just let the water pour because I'm just like grabbing one dish after the next to rinse it. But even in those 2 seconds it takes to grab the next dish, I turn the water off here. And next, and maybe lastly, while I'm waiting for the water to heat up in the shower, I collect it in a bucket, and then I'll use that to like water the grass or not my plants. My plants are all dead. Well, and I do have 2 indoor plants that are surviving. I'll water those, or I'll use it to flush the toilet, or I'll use it to mop the floor. So you will notice that the water pressure tends to be poor in Mexico. There are ways to fix it because it's just gravity. But there are things that you can put on there to improve the water pressure, or if they didn't elevate the tank enough, because it doesn't sit right on the roof, you have to have like this little like shelf it sits on. You'll also have poor water pressure. But I've been told, I'm not sure if it's true, I've been told that those devices to improve the hot water, but I've been told that those devices that help improve the water pressure don't work well with the solar hot water heater because it's too hot. There's a way around it, but I don't know anything about it, but just pointing that out. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please leave it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.